Yeah, he's going to break that easy. He'll probably break that by January.
Probably double it. Yeah. Well, let's switch to the bottom of the league. Yeah, he's already shaking his head there. Wolves.
I think we could turn it around. We've got the quality in our squad to be able to. Just a couple of good weeks of results for us, and we're going to leapfrog all those teams. And this discussion will just, completely be over.
They get Klopp to turn coal into diamonds. They keep making him work miracles, and it's running out now. We were 110 minutes away from winning the only quadruple ever done in English history. 110 minutes. And all of a sudden, you want him out.
I think we have to say top four. I think I have to say getting back into the Champions League.
Imagine a peak Wayne Rooney in this
Man
Utd.
To be fair, there's too many.
Peak Wayne Rooney.
Well, I've already said Vidic now, haven't I? I've already said it. Probably another spelling works there, but yeah.
Guardiola's the one we need to go. Can you just leave, please? Just go. Just go.
Welcome back to another episode of Fan Zone, the Premier League talk show by fans for fans. Today we're joined by Manchester United fan Soph from Ladies in Red, Liverpool fan Drifty from Team Kopish, and I'm Dave from Talking Wolves. So we're going to be kicking off the discussion today to talk about 10th place Liverpool. Drifty, we'll start with you. Top four, do you think they're going to miss out on it this year?
100%.
100%?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't quite know if we will be as okay as Arsenal and Man United have been in the past, where they've missed out on Champions League, because the Glazers will always spend money no matter where they are. I know Man United fans don't like them, but they'll always spend money. And Kroenke seems to have decided that he's okay to spend money. So in the Europa League, those two teams have been okay. In fact, all their recruitment recently, especially Arsenal, has been in the Europa League. FSG, I'm not going to make this a whole FSG thing, but they are the tightest owners you have ever seen in your entire life. And as much as they are wonderful businessmen, and I will never take anything away from them when it comes to the business side, they turned a £300 million club into I think we're now 3 billion or maybe even more than that. So their business acumen is sensational. But on the pitch, they do not invest. They do not invest. I think I saw a weird stat that said Chelsea's net spend this summer is more than Liverpool's in the last 5 seasons. That just goes to show you everything about what our owners do. They get Klopp to turn coal into diamonds. They keep making him work miracles. And it's running out now. He's only a human being. You can see he's physically and mentally frustrated, tired himself. Last season took his toll on us playing every game. And I just don't see us getting top four. I don't. And even though we need Champions League, God knows where this will leave us, because in Europa League, our owners won't spend. They don't even spend when we're in the Champions League. Yeah, top fours. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Do you? Sorry, I was going to say, do you believe in the 7-year curse with Klopp?
No.
Apparently, there's a curse, isn't there?
Yeah. I think that, because if that was the case, then he would have won the league in his 3rd year at Liverpool, because he did it at Dortmund. You know, all of that after there. I don't listen to all of that. But what I do believe is true about this is it's the first time he's ever had to get rid of players he loves. He's never had to do that. They normally desert him. And I think what's happened is he's had this whole kind of like, if every time your favorite toy was taken from you, once you finally got old enough to stop people taking your toy off you, you'd hold on to that toy even if you didn't want to play with it anymore. And I think that's what he's doing with his players. Goetze and Lewandowski and all these players who he adored, they all turned their back on him and went to Bayern Munich and kept making him have to rethink it. Kagawa left. All those players left. And I think now with the players that we've had for too long, it's because he's holding on to them because he's not used to being able to. He doesn't know how they normally desert him. So if he gets a player who's going to be loyal to him, like Henderson, Milner, these type of guys, he's like, oh, wow, loyalty. And he's holding on to it. And I think that's what he's struggling to deal with more than this 7-year curse. And he changed the formation in the last week. We never thought he would do that. He's intelligent. He's too good not to, but it's going to take a while for him to unlearn bad habits, I think. And I think that's more what it is rather than the 7-year thing, in my opinion, anyway.
What do you think the issue has been? Now, obviously, you mentioned transfers. Do you think injuries have taken their toll on Liverpool? I know players like Andy Robertson, Thiago had little spells out this year. Is that sort of disrupted Liverpool a little bit as well?
Yeah, we started with, I think it was 11 injuries, and I think 7 of them were to players who would actually play.
Mm.
And people like Curtis Jones still out back, Ox and Naby, God knows. I don't even know why they're still here. No disrespect, I love the guys, but they're just injured so often. What is the point at this point? Do you know what I mean? And then Matip obviously was out. Kanate, that was his first appearance yesterday. He's been out all season. These are pivotal people to our system that have all been injured. You saw the game against Arsenal yesterday. We lost Trent, and we lost Diaz. If Diaz has a long-term injury, yeah, call it a day, mate. Call it a day. Like, we don't have any natural width without him. And you lot saw yesterday against Arsenal, I'm sure you did, where the narrowness of the team just made it predictable. First half, we were terrorizing Arsenal because we had Diaz, and he was doing all sorts. He can go left, right, swap sides. You know what I mean? Playing off the left, but his assist was from the right. That's the type of player he is. Without him, God knows where we'll be. So the injuries have definitely played a part. I won't make excuses, but the injuries, 100%.
It probably doesn't help either when you've had players such as Salah, whose like form for the last 2-3+ years has been unbelievable. Probably since AFCON, to be fair, he's really quieting down in terms of like his goal output. Same with players like Trent, and I know everyone always used to question Trent's defensive ability sometimes, but we've seen that, I think, even more this year. I think that probably doesn't help, does it, when key players are sort of, I'm not going to say letting you down as such, but maybe aren't producing the results they had been over the last couple of years.
Out of form, yeah. And they're only
Yeah.
human beings. I think a lot of people forget with Trent. I mean, it was his birthday 2 days ago, and he turned 24. But obviously, the majority of the time he's been criticised. He's been 23 and under. You still win Young Player of the Year at that age. And people forget that. We get the Fodens and the Sackers and all these guys. Everybody always talks about how young they are and gives them that kind of like blight. Nobody's ever done that for Trent. And this kid's been doing this since he was 18 years old. When we beat Barcelona in that semi-final and he took that corner and had that imagination, he was 19, 20 years old when he did that. Nobody gave him credit for being so young. Everyone's just treated him like an adult since he came through. And I think that's unfair. And I think now he's just going through what every player goes through, a bad patch.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
I think as well, the way Liverpool play, obviously, when you had Mane there, I think losing Mane has had a big impact on your front line. I think quite often if Salah wasn't on it, Mane would pop up, and it was vice versa. Do you know what I mean? And not having, I think it now underlines how quality Mane was to your whole system and how pivotal he was. And I think Liverpool are so used to being on the front foot, so almost you rely on the players like Trent less defensively. You get more out of him attacking wise. Whereas this season, because you're not controlling games, a lot of it is down to that midfield or not obviously making the most of it higher up the pitch. You are having to defend more, and that's now obviously the vulnerabilities are going to show because he's under a bit more pressure at right back, and teams will know that. But going forward, I think you talk about like Trent's quality. I know that he gets a lot of stick and whatnot defensively, but going forwards, like absolutely incredible. Like, he is incredible, and I think if Liverpool can maybe get a midfielder and somehow get either Darwin firing or find a replacement for Mane that fits your system. You mentioned width earlier. Then I feel like you can turn it around. But injuries has to be a big concern. I didn't even realise that Diaz could possibly be out long term because he's been your main guy this season. You'd argue going forwards, like he's been the guy so often when you've needed someone to pop up. It's been him, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's the midfield. It's the midfield. I know a lot of people were looking at the defense, and I get it. Van Dijk is in holiday mode. He's waiting for the World Cup. I'm sure of it. This is a clone playing. Robertson's been ran into the ground. That guy has done more running in our team than anybody bar maybe Firmino. Up and down, season after season. And I think now the midfield is old, or older, should I say. It's not they haven't got the quality. I still think Thiago's one of the best midfielders in world football. But his game isn't chasing people and tackling and running around. That's what we're asking him to do. Henderson, he's ran himself into the ground for 10 years. He's exhausted. We don't have any legs in midfield, is what I would call it. Everybody's tired, and it's easy to get through our midfield now. It's just easy. You can just literally just run through our midfield. Fabinho, he's never been a quick player as it is. He's got a lot of miles in his legs from his Monaco days to now. I just think we actually need 3 midfielders. It might sound greedy and it might sound weird, but we actually need 3 midfielders. We actually do. It's a whole midfield revamp now. And FSG won't fund that unless we go shopping in the Championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm 100% that Liverpool aren't going to get top 4 because I still think, like you mentioned there, you've still got quality players. But But I do think that you do need to invest in January if you are going to be within a shot of getting that. And like you say, you don't know how much FSG will invest in terms of signing players and whatnot. And injuries obviously haven't helped. If certain players get injured, it's obviously going to affect you. So it's really hard to call it. But I'd still say you've got the quality there. You can definitely still get top 4. I think it's going to be a scrap to get top 4. And I think whoever's going to do it is going to have to go on a run of games, and not drop any points. And it's whichever team obviously is capable of doing that. So I think it's going to be a tight one for top 4 this season. I wouldn't write Liverpool off, even though they are obviously, you'd say, least likely at the moment. But I still think you've got that quality there. And obviously Klopp is a very good manager and he knows how to get the best out of the players. I think it'd be interesting with the City game coming up to see if you do lose that and the manner in which you lose it.
Yeah, we've already
Klopp,
lost.
But the manner of it, like for example, we conceded 6. You know what I mean? So everyone all of a sudden attention on Ten Hag, like, and he did get things wrong. Of course, he did in that game and whatnot. We already know our players bottle it when, you know what I mean. The second we concede early, it was always going to be a bad one. But if it happens to Klopp, like, do you think for the first real time? I know there's been utters of it before, but do you think he's under pressure now?
Yeah. I mean, there's a small part of the fan base, as stupid as I find it, that are already Klopp out, and I just think that is absolutely
every
ludicrous.
team.
Like, we ask players and managers and coaches and owners for loyalty, yet us fans, we're the people who show the least loyalty most of the time because we just 2 or 3 bad games. I mean, we were 110 minutes away from winning the only quadruple ever done in English history. 110 minutes. And all of a sudden, you want him out. Like 10 games later, that makes sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, he's under pressure already. But I think he's putting himself under pressure, which I dislike more, because that's the pressure that makes you make mistakes. When you put the pressure on yourself, I think if other people put pressure on you, but you believe in yourself, you'll continue to do what's right. But if you put pressure on yourself and you start second guessing yourself, that's when I think you make mistakes. So I'm hoping he isn't doing what I think he's doing, and that's putting pressure on himself. I'm expecting at least 5 goals conceded against Man City, 100%. If Arsenal could score 3, Man City are scoring 5. Like,
but to be fair, we scored 3, so if we can score, it does depend on if you got Diaz, I'm afraid. But I do feel that you can score against them.
And Trent, Trent as well. We're going to go into that game with no Trent. People might be bothered about his defending. Who's going to play right back? James Milner? I adore James Milner. He's 36 years old. James Milner up against like Foden or give me a break.
Milner against us was the worst I've ever seen him play. His head was just gone against United. Like, I don't know what was with him then. But we've been talking about top 4 and whatnot, and obviously the top of the league. But let's switch to the bottom of the league. He's already shaking his head there. But Wolves. Like, do you think? Obviously, my dad's a big Wolves fan. I've had this debate with him as well. But do you think genuinely Wolves are at risk of relegation this season, or do you think they can turn it around?
I think we could turn it around. We've got the quality in our squad to be able to. Obviously, it's always a worry because since we've been back up in the Premier League, we've never sort of had this discussion. Especially now we're sort of 8-9 games into the campaign. To be fair, for Wolves, ever since we've come back into the Premier League, it's taken us about 4 or 5 games to get going. Since been back in the Prem, we haven't won a game in August. So we got August out of the way and I thought, right, let's try and get a win now. But sort of now we're sort of mid-October, we've only won 1 game. Obviously managerless still at the minute. The part of me is a little bit worried, a little bit like what Drifty said there. Our fans are the same, just who can we blame next? If it's all right, we haven't got a manager, so who can we blame now? Is it the board? Is it the caretaker manager? Is it players? So it is a concern, but I think our squad is more than good enough on paper. And I know football's not played on paper, but our squad is the strongest it has been, player-wise, the strongest it has probably ever been, especially during our time back in the Premier League. I think we've been unfortunate with injuries. It's no secret that we're not great goal scorers. I think ever since that head injury to Raul Jimenez, we didn't really replace him properly. This year we brought in Kalajdzic, who was a tall Austrian striker, to compete with him. He got injured after 45 minutes. He's out for the season. And obviously bringing back Diego Costa now as well, who it's taken him a couple of weeks to get up to pace. I thought he looked lively, looked a bit of a menace against West Ham last week, and obviously started against Chelsea last weekend but didn't do much. But just goals is the concern. I think across the pitch we've got a good team, but whoever comes in as a new manager now has got to try and find a way to get this team scoring goals. But I'm pretty confident that we should be safe this year. It might be a long season where there's games where we should have done better, and we might still be down there, sort of 14th, 15th place. But I'm hoping we should finish stronger this year.
Drifty, what's your thoughts on Wolves?
How old is Costa? Is he about 36?
Just turned 34.
34.
Okay, so he's not as old as I thought he was. You know what, Soph? They'll be all right to me. I think they'll be all right. I don't. Bruno getting the can was weird. I mean, obviously, I don't pay
agree
attention
with
to
that.
Wolves.
I think
that was weird.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, like people were like respecting him, and then all of a sudden he's gone. I find that very strange. But I think Wolves will be all right. They'll get it together. They do have a good squad, as Dave said. There's no way they won't have brilliant moments during the season that will drag them out of it. I think if you look at the likes of Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, there are worse teams in the league than Wolves by far. I mean, even Leeds, they had a brilliant start to the season, but they got to watch their back. They're starting to drop points on a regular basis now. Was it just a little bit of a new season bounce, and now all of a sudden they're back to who they were originally, losing games they shouldn't be? Wolves will be all right. I like Wolves as well. When there's a team I like, I enjoy watching them, and I have a little soft spot for them. Crystal Palace, Wolves, Leicester. There's a few clubs in the league that I just have a soft spot for them. Unless we're playing them, I want them to do well. And Wolves are one of them. Unless we're playing. Plus, over the years, you lot have done a good job of taking points off a City. So you've done you've done your part to help us trying to win the league. So I think Wolves will be all right. Wolves will be all right.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in regards to those teams. And I think it's still such early days in regards to the league. Like, I'm looking at Bournemouth. And they're like top half of the table right now, and I think everybody predicted them to finish rock bottom of the table. But just a couple of good weeks of results for us, and we're going to leapfrog all those teams. And this discussion will just, completely be over. The concern is goals. I completely appreciate that. But yeah, it's still very early days. I think in regards to Bruno Lage, it stemmed back to last year as well. I think he'd won one game in about 14, if you include last year, and the football was poor. I think he was unfortunate with injuries. But I think he would have had a deadline of possibly, I think it was after the game against City. We didn't play very well, obviously, as you'd expect. I think he had, for me, 3 games to try and turn it around. He had West Ham last week. He had Chelsea just gone, and he would have had Nottingham Forest coming up. I would have given him those 3 games personally, but they sacked him after the West Ham game straight away. My only frustration is that they should have had his replacement ready to come in straight away. And obviously that's still not the case. But long way to go. I think we've just got to make sure we're not in and amongst that discussion when we get to the World Cup break anyway.
I'd agree with that. I think with Bruno, especially like we spent 100 mil. Players like Nunes, Champions League players, do you know what I mean? A lot of people expected them to come in. And a lot of people, I know Liverpool are interested in Nunes and whatnot as well. I know we've been linked with him as well. He's a top quality player. And I think when you've got players like that, and I think the Cody decision as well, a lot of people were baffled at why Wolves got rid of him. Do you know what I mean? It was just a bit of a weird one because, like I say, performances granted, like you might say he wasn't exactly top form, but he's an England defender. He loves Wolves, like he absolutely adored Wolves, and the fans loved him. Like he's in the dressing room, he seemed like a really good character to have about, especially when things aren't going so well. He's the type to lift the others. So I think kind of just getting Collins in and shipping him out was a bit of a baffling one as well.
Yeah, that was. I think we had a couple of big characters in the dressing room that have gone. I think John Ruddy was one, obviously a goalkeeper who didn't play a lot, but just a huge character to have around the place, and we let him go. And then obviously Cody, like you said, like playing quality wise, I think Nathan Collins, Max Kilman are better players than Connor Cody, but the leadership side of things you can't replace. It's so difficult to replace that. So Wolves keep saying, they let him go, so he's got a chance of playing for England and giving him game time and so on, which I do get. But it was a big decision by Bruno Lage, and at the moment it looks like it might have backfired on him. Although a lot of Wolves fans don't want to admit that, because a lot of Wolves fans were happy to see Connor Cody go. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who has the last laugh, I suppose, at the end of the season anyway.
I mean, well, speaking about teams who have new managers or needed new managers, Man United at the top of the table, reluctantly above us. What is a good season for Man United? I think that's the big question right now amongst the non-Man United fans. So what would be considered success this year?
I think we have to say top 4. I think I have to say getting back into the Champions League. Obviously, new managers, you've already mentioned, new signings that we want to try and embed and settle in, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more signings to come as well. Ten Hag wants to build his team, and I think at the moment he's still got a few players that aren't ideally part of his ideal. Do you know what I mean? So like you look at the likes of Anthony, he's come straight into the team. Martinez obviously come straight in. Casemiro started yesterday, and I thought, to be fair, still a bit rusty at times, but I thought he made our midfield look a lot stronger. So I just feel like he's slowly building his team. I think we're still going to have our frailties. Obviously, we got battered against City. We played Ammonia midweek, and yeah, we won, but we weren't exactly convincing. First half against Everton was good. Second half, especially at the end, we were kind of clinging on a little bit. And I just feel like we are going to have those inconsistencies. No game is an easy game. There will be times when we don't turn up because we know what these players are capable of. Like, they're so hot and cold. So I think you'd have to say top four would be successful for Ten Hag. Obviously, we're in Europa League. It'd be lovely to get a trophy. But I think priority-wise, it'll always be getting back into the Champions League anyway. But that's what I want as a fan. Of course, silverware is lovely. If we could get that as well, brilliant. But yeah, getting back into that top four would be nice.
Are we looking at Martial's resurgence? Is he loved again? Because he splits the fan base more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did. Honestly, I think he's a brilliant player, though. Personally,
he is. But I call him Tony Partial for a reason, because he's so hot and cold as well. He's just like, when he's on it, he's quality. Like, his touch, he's proved he's got an eye for goal. His link-up player, like, he's an intelligent player. But injuries, like, look, in a week he scored, and he's injured again against Everton in the warm-up, and that's just summed up his career, unfortunately. Like, we talk about Liverpool players picking up injuries and whatnot, but it's been exactly the same for Martial. He gets you excited, and you think, oh, he's back, and then he just gets injured again, and it's so frustrating. You just can't rely on him, unfortunately. Great player to have on his day, but he's just not always there, and it's a shame, because you mentioned it earlier, like, it feels like careers are being wasted. Obviously went there on loan to Sevilla and whatnot, didn't quite work out, and I felt like getting a new manager in, it's kind of like, normally when a player of his age goes on loan, that's it, it's done at the club. But the fact we got a new manager, the manager wants to look at everybody, and it gave him a second chance at United. And I'm just hoping that he can get over these little injuries that he keeps picking up, because we need a run of games, and we need, at the end of the day, with Ronaldo the age he's at, we need a consistent striker. We need somebody we can rely on, and we just don't have that at the minute.
Yeah, talking about Ronaldo as well, like, obviously it's been a weird start to the season for him, sort of sat on the bench, probably first time in his career for that long, but coming off the bench, scoring a goal yesterday. What's your stance on him? Do you think he can break back into the first team fold as a starter, or do you think this is going to be the sort of role he's going to have this year?
Of course he can. He's Ronaldo. Of course he can. I absolutely love the guy. Like, I'm not deluded. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, he doesn't deserve to be dropped and whatnot, because like, after what happened through the summer, like, it was breaking my heart. I was thinking I want him to stay at United. Like, when nothing was said before July, I was thinking he's staying. And then literally it was on my birthday, the news came out saying, oh, Ronaldo's he wants to leave United. And I'm thinking, why is he saying it now? Like, why so late? Like, I was confused. So the fact that he's still here, I'm buzzing with. I think, to be fair, against Ammonia, even though he could not score, he couldn't buy a goal, I do think he actually was starting to look more like his old self, like he was playing well. His link-up play was good. He wasn't stropping as much as he has been. And I thought against Everton, obviously coming on and getting a goal, surely it'll do him wonders, because you wouldn't think it with Ronaldo, but I feel like confidence has been an issue with him, especially after everything that happened in the summer and whatnot. In front of goal, it just wasn't clicking. So hopefully getting that 700th goal, because there was a lot of media talk about this, with a lot of hype around him getting that 700th. Now that's done, I'm hoping that he can kick on. But yeah, for sure, he can still break into the starting lineup, especially with Martial being injured as well. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
What's your team, as a rival's point of view? What's your thoughts on him? Obviously, we know he's the GOAT. He's got 700 goals, but a lot of people are like, oh, he's finished in that. Like, as an opposition, do you still dread Cristiano Ronaldo?
Nah, not anymore. I'll always have respect for him, but not anymore. I think what made him great is obviously Father Time will take that away. He's still got intelligence, so he will always score a goal if he's got the opportunity, as he did against Everton. But I think if he's got to like work for the goal, like how we would have in the past, then he used to be like, give me the ball, and he'd go and he'd get it, and he'd make a goal happen. He can't do that anymore. So if the ball falls to him in the box, I'll be like, oh, here we go, it's Ronaldo. But all the things that used to make me fear him, I think are gone. And it's natural. He's 37. I mean, in football terms, why is he even still playing? Do you know what I mean? But it's
I think we should use him a bit like City use Haaland. Even watch City and Haaland, he doesn't touch it in the build-up play. Like, literally, they don't even bother with him. But the second he goes in the box, he's there. Do you know what I mean? It's all about that service. And for me, that's it. I'm not saying he is Haaland or Haaland is Ronaldo. I'm just saying that we should use him like that. I don't think we should rely on him so much for the running in behind. Do you know what I mean? Trying to stretch teams. That's not his game. But getting the ball in the box a bit more with a player like Anthony, who I think, to be fair, I've been impressed with him since he's come in. I think if we get more balls into the box, he gives us a target. Whereas if we don't have Ronaldo there, we're kind of crossing it in and we're like, well, who's that even two? We've got no one in there. So I feel like that's how we should use him. But I still think he's effective, like you say. He can still score goals. He's not the same Ronaldo. We all know that. But I still think he can be a really good weapon for us this season.
Ten Hag would never play two strikers, but I think at his age, he needs a partner. I think it would prolong his career even more if he had a strike partner and a big partner as well. Obviously, you can't get Haaland, but somebody like that who bullies defenders, takes them with him.
So we'll do the running for him.
Yeah, and then Ronaldo was he needs his Emil Heskey. Michael Owen used to have Emil Heskey with bulldoze everyone, bully everyone, do the knockdowns, do all of that, and then make sure Michael Owen's the one there to do the goal scoring. If you lot did that, that would probably prolong his career. Unfortunately, nobody really plays two strikers anymore. So, you know what I mean? That wouldn't work. But I think that would get another year or so out of him easy if he had a partner up front.
I still love him. Still absolutely love him. He's still like literally my go-to. Like I'm on the back of my shirt now. I just can't help it. He's just a legend, isn't he? And I saw loads of United fans saying, "Oh, he's finished. Get him out of the club and whatnot." And I was thinking, like, it's Ronaldo. Like, what are we saying? Last season, where would we have finished if it wasn't for him? Do you know, it's crazy. Like, we ain't got a goal scorer like that. Like, so I'm glad he stayed anyway, and we'll see how long he stays for. So yeah, talk about concrete decision. We talk about Haaland, he's going to score goals. Ronaldo, he's going to stay at United. But let me ask you guys, what is your one concrete for this season? The one thing that definitely will happen, regardless of anything else. Like, what's your mainstay?
I think it's obvious, and I've probably taken the answer from both of you, that Manchester City are going to win the league. I think obviously we know that Liverpool have been their sort of main rivals the last few years, and we've spoken about that already. Arsenal are looking all right, but I just don't think they've got enough quality, throughout the remainder of the season. But the thing with City is, I thought Haaland, they're going to bring, they brought Alvarez in as well. I thought maybe they're going to bring Haaland on. He'll have a break. Pep carrying on doing his rotation. But it's scary because Haaland's pretty much been ever present, Premier League and Champions League. He scored a goal in the Champions League, and then Pep brought him off at half time to keep him fresh in the Premier League. I was gutted
with that. I wanted to get 4 hat-tricks in a row. I just wanted to see it for the history. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking I was gutted.
I know, but he's really hit the ground running, and I knew he'd do well, but I don't think I expected him to do as well as he has been. And if he could keep it up, then, but yeah, I think City are an absolute cert to win the Premier League. I just can't see anyone this year, at least. I just can't see anyone getting close to rivaling them at the moment.
Drifty?
Yeah. Sticking with City, it is obviously going to win the league. Like, that's by a canter, probably like 15, 20 points when it's all said and done. I think Haaland breaking the goal scoring record is actually more obvious than that, though. Like, this kid's probably going to get 50 to 60 goals this year, which is mental.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. And I'm gonna get people coming on to me for saying this. I don't even think it's because he is as good as what maybe it looks like he is. I just think he's a brilliant finisher, and he's now in a team that we all knew creates so many chances.
Yeah.
I said to people, and I mean no disrespect to Haaland, because he is a top striker. I believe Harry Kane will be doing the same thing at Man City, because he is more intelligent than Haaland. So he would find the same space Haaland does, and he'd probably be helping to create goals for others. I believe any real proper striker at Man City will be doing this. But obviously it is Haaland, so I'm not going to take that credit away. And he is a brilliant striker. Unless people find him out, like maybe if you played him one time already, and then the next time you play him, you remember what he did, and you kind of...
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot with players, do you know what I mean? It's why I don't think Salah went and got 44 goals the following year, because people were like, oh, okay, well, let's try and do this and do that because we remember what he did and whatnot. If people figure that out, maybe he might not do the 50 goals I think he will, but it might take till
injuries as well. If he gets injured, or say if De Bruyne gets injured, like, do you think that'll impact like him at City? Because obviously De Bruyne and him are just a joke together. But
yeah,
you know what I mean? If they get injuries in and around him, or even himself, like, is that going to affect City as well? Because they're so dominant at the minute. He's been their final piece of the jigsaw, hasn't he? Like, they're going for Champions League. Do you think they could get that this season?
Yeah. I think they'll win everything. Honestly, and I'm not just saying it because of how well they're playing. I think they're going to win everything. I think they're going to do what we didn't do last year, and that's what's going to really, really annoy me, that we got so close. We set the bar, and then they just come through and smash it. But then I'm hoping Pep goes, because I hope if he wins the Champions League, he realizes he's done everything and he goes.
He's done everything, yeah. Guardiola's
the one we need to go. Can you just leave, please? Pep, like, just go. just
What is the goal scoring record? Do you know for the Premier League?
It's 33. Is it 32 or 33?
Oh,
Mo Salah got it that year.
Is it 33?
Yeah, 32 or 33. One of those. Yeah. He's gonna break that easy. He'll probably break that by January.
Probably double it. Yeah.
What is he on now? 15.
I want to know what he's on as well. To be fair, because I want some of it because the machine is a joke.
So let's get this straight. He's halfway to the record in the second month of the season.
About less than a quarter of the way through the season, yeah.
That is a joke. 9 games played, already halfway to being top goal scorer.
15 goals in 9, yeah. Oh my days, yeah.
I mean, come on, he's gonna get that by January. He'll break the record in January, and then it will just be like, can he go and get Messi's record of, I think it was 74 goals in all competitions, back in 2010, I think it was. Yeah. He'll be going for that record. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd
like to know what the club record is as well for the league, Premier League, because City are banging in goals week in, week out. Like, what is the club record? Do you know what I mean? Because I bet City are going to break that as well.
110, I think. Is it 110?
They're scoring goals for fun at the minute. Like, I know Harley does his chipping in with lots of them, but even players like Foden and stuff, like, they've just got quality everywhere, and it's horrible to see, but they're just too good. I think they'll win Champions League as well.
Yeah.
Have you got a prediction, Soph, that you reckon?
I think the obvious one is Haaland, Golden Boot and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I can say something a bit more outrageous, a bit more out there. Do you know what I mean? Nottingham Forest to get relegated. There you go. I'm going to go with that one. That's my concrete. I just feel like there's too many players, new players all shoved together. And I just don't feel like it's clicked. Unfortunately, it's not worked for them. So, yeah, I'll try to say something a bit different.
Bobby wants to see that
to them on their new manager contract, actually.
Stand by him, yeah.
They're going to stick by him.
Last season messed them up for this season, weird, because they had too many loans. So it's almost like they had to build a team in the summer ready, and they're going into the top flight. That you can't just do that. You don't have to work. You have to work your way up. So, yeah, I just think it's been a bit of a crammed experience for them, unfortunately. But fair play, giving the manager a contract. I hope they stand by him. Be interesting to see if they do. If they keep losing, though. Obviously, they're playing tonight, so we'll see.
If they do go down, I'll be intrigued to see what happens with them. Obviously, all the players that they've brought. I'd assume a lot of them have relegation clauses in the contracts, but it'll be like financially as well for them as a team. It'll be interesting, but. Let's throw it back. We'll start with you, Drifty. Liverpool, if you could bring back one former player and add them to the current Liverpool side, who would it be?
Yeah, it's an obvious one. Although, take away the fact that as a human being, he's done some very scumbaggy things that I completely disagree with. Suarez in this team, oh my God. Oh my days. But I think the obvious one, especially the position we're in now, is Steven Gerrard. He's not just arguably the best player that's ever played for Liverpool. He's exactly what we need. He's Kevin De Bruyne on steroids. And that's one of the reasons why, as Soph just was saying, when it comes to like how good Haaland's doing, is because De Bruyne is right there, giving him that service and being another, like, because if he doesn't pass, he can score. So you don't even know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Do you block the pass? Yeah. You block the shot because De Bruyne does it all. Gerrard was that and more. Do you know what I mean? And if you put Gerrard in this Liverpool team across the last 4 or 5 years, as I've said many times, I think it's us that have got 4 titles and they've only got 1 or 2. Because I think Gerrard is always that little bit missing that we needed that would have got us over the line. Especially the 2 seasons we only finished 1 point behind them. You think of some of them draws we got in games where we couldn't get the final goal. We got Gerrard in that game and we get that goal. Do you know what I mean? And I think under Klopp, Gerrard would have been even more of a level of what he was under Benitez. So yeah, with not just because I love him, because he's exactly what we need. Steven Gerrard, 100%.
So, what do you reckon for United? How would
I still and I still don't know my answer to this. Obviously, my heart straight away was like Paul Scholes. I'll take him in any United team, like I just love Paul Scholes, and I just think for me, one of the best midfielders ever. Like his passing, I feel like we really lack that quality in midfield to control a game. And to be fair, I just miss laughing at his tackles as well because he just couldn't tackle for shit, and I just love that. So Scholes is obviously up there, but I'm thinking in the current lineup, obviously we've just got Casemiro and whatnot. I feel like in the current system we're playing, I'd probably look at another centre-back, to be fair. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Harry Maguire and whatnot. Martinez, I really like him, he's come in. So I'd think maybe someone to complement him. And the idea of like Vidic and Martinez for me, like, if I was a striker, I'd hate to play against them too. Because I feel they're just going to be pinched in and ratting and just be like nasty. But then obviously looking at the ball side, like ball playing side of it, and you talk about Rio Ferdinand. So I'd probably say Vidic or Ferdinand. I'd go with Vidic just for the nastiness. But I think just a hardcore centre back alongside Martinez. I know we've got Varane, but obviously we know he's got his injuries and whatnot. So yeah, I just feel like we missed that bit of a fullback. I was also thinking of, obviously got like Gary Neville and whatnot, but I think I'll go Vidic. But that's a really hard one for me to not choose Scholes, to be honest with you. But again, trying to just move away from Paul Scholes because I think he's my answer to pretty much every question that's thrown at me in terms of retro United. So yeah, let's go for Vidic.
Yeah,
I'm quite surprised at that, you know, so because if I'm being honest, imagine a peak Wayne Rooney in this Man Utd.
To be fair, there's too many.
Peak Wayne Rooney in this team. Rooney. Oh my!
Even like someone like Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, like there's so many. But Rooney just. Other than Scholes, I'd say Rooney's probably my favourite United player of all time, to be honest with you. I think I remember being there on his debut when he scored the hat-trick and just thinking, this kid's going to be something special. To then go and achieve what he did. And obviously now he's managing as well. So that's a good shout, to be fair, Wazza as well. I've already said Vidic now, haven't I? I've already said it. You've got another spelling works there, but yeah. Any of them.
I think.
What about you, Wolves?
I think I need someone to at least help with our goal-scoring problems. Not so much a striker, but I think I'm going to take one of your players, Drifty, and bring Diogo Jota back to Wolves. I think
you miss him, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, it's gone downhill since we let him go, I think. And at the time, because it was obviously after Project Restart and stuff, he'd struggled after the lockdown. Really struggled to find his form. And I remember when Liverpool signed him, and I thought it's a good deal for both teams. We've got a good amount of money, but I know he's still a good player that can sort of make the step up. But we've really, really missed him since. And to be fair, some of my best, recent Wolves moments involved Jota. When we came back and beat Man City at Molineux was a big part of that. We beat Villa in the Championship, the FA Cup run. Jota was absolutely pivotal in that. He scored the winner against Manchester United in the Cup, which was like, or one of the goals, in that game, which was amazing. So yes, he's a top player. Always got me off my seat.
Him and Jimenez as well were mad together. I remember him and Jimenez, but they were on obviously before Jimenez got his head injury and whatnot. Like them two were unplayable at times. Yeah, and obviously he got injured and then he got rid of Jota, and it's all gone a bit stale, hasn't it? It's unfortunate. But them two together when they were on it, they were unplayable.
Yeah, I had Jimenez, Adama Traore when he was on it as well. Like those three were amazing. But just for, I don't know what he's like. I've not been able to catch him too much for Liverpool, Drifty. But just for someone he's not a tall guy, but on the ball, he's so strong on the ball. Players just bounce off him sometimes, and we miss that. Someone that's almost just got that grit and determination, just to drive that ball up the pitch. And we really miss that. So
I love him. I love him. When we signed him from people were looking at me sideways when I was excited about the signing. And I was like, why are you not? Like, Jota is an unbelievable player. He's exactly what we need. And other than Cristiano, he's the best header in the league, and he's only 5'10".
He is unbelievable in the air.
Unbelievable in the air. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love him. If you just seen the way he was taken on Arsenal yesterday, he was my Liverpool player of the match yesterday. Like, he's brilliant. Absolutely love Jota. Yeah.
He's got a great record against Arsenal as well. The amount of goals he scored against them.
Yeah.
When I watched the Arsenal documentaries, like every other game, it was like Jota scored. I was like, what's going on here? Happy days. Wicked player, man. But guys, that wraps it up for episode 2 of Fan Zone. Please do drop us a like if you've enjoyed it, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below about what we've discussed, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Drifty, where can people find you on the socials if they wish?
It's Drifty_ish on the socials, and if you want to come and watch people losing their mind this season as their club falls from grace, it is Team Kopish on YouTube. Come check us out.
And Soph, what about you?
Lovely. On YouTube, Ladies in Red. Get myself and a few other ladies just talking all things United. Come and join us over there on Ladies in Red on YouTube. And then my socials are Soph Richer on Twitter, and then Soph Richer with a kiss on the end of it on Insta.
And you can find me at Dave as a Party on Twitter and at Talking Walls everywhere else as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.